Introduction to get us started. So, me and Dow actually came up with this idea back long time ago when we were at PFW, and never worked out. Here we are, about 7 months later. Y'all want to give a little bit of your guys' introductions, personal introductions?
Yeah, it was funny. I remember me and Dow talking in the car on the way here today about how, of course, we didn't start this podcast till we all don't live together
Yeah,
anymore.
facts.
But yeah, so I'm Red Dunton. I actually played ball with these two dudes right here, Keaton and Dow, last year at PFW. This year I'm going to be at the University of Mount Olive playing Division II basketball. So spent the last 2 years playing Division I ball. Got my eyes on that. It was a great time. Met a lot of great people. And now I'm currently working some job in the summer and earn some money before I head back to school. But the main thing is uh, this this is a lot of basketball knowledge right here in this setting, and I think this idea is something that we've been really looking forward to for a long time now, and we're looking forward to have a lot of awesome guests on the show and just give a lot of people perspective on what it's like being in the college basketball world.
All right, what's up, everybody? I'm Dow. I'm Red's older brother, and like you said, me, Red, and Keaton played last year together at PFW. Um, my story: played 4 years of Division III basketball at the University of Lynchburg in Virginia, and D3 basketball. That's a fun time. And then I decided to use my 5th year because of COVID with my younger brother, and see what the D1 experience was like. Now I could say I'm a retired hooper. Who knows? I can go play at the Y or join some adult leagues. But yeah, that's what I'm doing right now. Chilling, enjoying the summer, working. But yeah, that's about it.
Yeah. As far as me, I'm Keaton Dukes. Me and Dow were the walk-ons last year at Purdue Fort Wayne. That's how we came up with the name of this show. Me, Red, Dow all live together. Me and Red are co-parents. Actually, just celebrated Father's Day with our
Yep,
baby girl Ivy, little
yep,
11-month-old puppy. So
yep. She is
that's
a
exciting.
gold doodle.
Hmm.
She is, like you said, almost a year, man. Can you
Yeah,
believe that?
very beautiful little girl. That's crazy.
I mean, to
Probably
think we bought her,
one of the most impulsive purchases of my life.
it was easily the craziest purchase we
Yeah,
ever made. I don't
yeah.
think there's any other way to put it. I mean, I just think the fact that we drove an hour in the middle of the night to go pick up this $400 rag doll of a dog with her long fur. She looked like a mop when we first bought her, but she was the cutest mop I've ever seen in my life. And now we've owned her for almost 10 months. And yeah, happy Father's Day to us.
Yeah, but so I'm gonna be a sophomore at Purdue Fort Wayne. I'm gonna get it out of the way. First of all, I cannot talk right now because I currently have about 15 stitches in my lip, so I can't smile, can't talk. Shout out Sam Sessoms for busting my lip open in ones yesterday. But yeah, let's get into it,
How'd
man.
that go, by the way, actually?
So we play in Sunday pickup like we always do
Yep.
at PFW. We have Sunday night pickup, and he was there. We got a couple other guys were there playing. We get done. I'm done playing, like completely done. Sitting on the
Right.
side, shoes off, socks off, shirt off, like done. Bro, come over, start talking shit. Like you don't want to get in these ones. I'm like, all right, well now you gonna make me get up and get in the ones. Like first play. I hadn't even got the ball yet. I guard him first play. He goes low pickup, inside elbow just caught me right in the face, and my teeth went all
Oh,
the way through like the front of my lip. So I had to go to ER, get a bunch of stitches. That'll be fun. I can't eat for 3 days, so I'm on Smoothie King
Oh my
diet
God.
for 3 days.
a great one.
Solid.
Yeah, great day.
A Fort Wayne staple.
So before we get into it, shout out to Zach Osborne and Bryn Beer, everybody here at Crafted Fate for letting us use the studio and the equipment and getting us all set up with that. We really appreciate that from everybody here. I've been good friends with them for a long time now. They have done all my tattoos and are great people, so everybody go follow them on social media. But with that being said, let's get into it. First topic, our dream guests for the pod. I know we've been talking about this a little bit this week. As far as the three of us know, a lot of interesting people in the space of college basketball and have had some really interesting experiences and encounters with different people. So, who would your guys' top dream guest be for the pod?
I don't think there's any way to really narrow it down to just three. Like there's just so many
Yeah.
wonderful people in the college basketball community that we've been able to, hang out with and meet and just kind of network with. And I mean, narrowing it down to three is no knock on any of the people who we may have on this podcast in the future, but long term, I'll give you my short term. In the short term, I really look forward to an episode potentially with Damian Chung-Kui, a guy who actually was a walk-on to start his college basketball career, but
One of the
his
best
journey,
stories you'll ever hear in college
yeah,
basketball.
easily. And we were lucky enough. I was lucky enough to play with him for 2 years, and Down Keen got to be around him for a year. But I think he has a very impactful perspective on life and not just basketball. And it's like Keen said, it's a story like no other. So in the short term, that would be a guest I really look forward to as my one. Uh, Moving it down, we're gonna have some guys in the me and Dow's area. Man, I honestly I look forward to the potential of having one of my former AAU teammates, Bobby Pettiford Jr., on the podcast. Uh, Former national champion at Kansas, just actually transferred back in state to East Carolina University in Greenville, North Carolina. I know they just got a new coach, and I think he has a chance to have a very special career there. But most importantly, just catching up with him, I think would be something really good, and just getting his perspective on what his experience has been like in college basketball would be a lot of fun. And my very, very long term guest, who I would love to have on this podcast, would probably be JJ Redick. I
Ooh,
think I think he's a very big model of what a good podcast looks like in the
very
basketball space.
pioneer for the
Yeah,
basketball podcast industry. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I didn't even realize but this until today that his podcast actually started while they were in the NBA bubble
Mm-hmm.
during the COVID finals. So yeah, like you said, he's a real pioneer just in the not even just the basketball podcast space, but in my opinion, the podcast space overall. And I think having his intellect and just his knowledge of the game and just so many other things on this podcast would be a wonderful conversation and something we'd be blessed to be a part of. But right now, those are my three for sure.
Dow.
I mean, like Red was saying, we're from the hoop state, so we know tons of people that know hella other people. That's just kind of like what it is down here. But
If you know me, Red and Dow, you know that the one thing we disagree on is the hoop state of high school basketball in
it
America.
is North Carolina.
It- we'll get into that later. It's not North Carolina. We'll get into that later. Keep going with your guess.
But we've had like Red said, we have privileges of like knowing so many people from college to pro, whether that's NBA, Euro League, anywhere overseas. So I guess like for a long shot one, which would never happen.
Never say never.
People never say it, but this is a never. I would say J. Cole because we know people
Yeah.
that know him personally. Like, that'd be a crazy one. But like I think, some realistic ones would be coaches in like Power Five schools. Like I know Hubert Davis's son. We could possibly get that one on there, which would be kind of sick. I know tons of people in the ACC and other kind of Power Five schools, stuff like that. Those would be kind of sick.
Yeah, definitely. A coach completely different perspective than somebody like us or a player. Completely different perspective. For me, I'd have to go Xavier Johnson, number one, as far
Yeah.
as people around here that we know. And Damian Chankui actually introduced us to him when we went down there. And one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet in your life. Like, completely just opened up everything that he had to us. Was like, whatever y'all need, I got you. That was a great experience going down there.
Yeah, his
X,
teammates feel the same way about him. I mean,
yeah.
I've heard obviously the hospitality there in Bloomington,
Hmm.
Indiana it was great. It really
Yeah.
was. And like you said, that was actually somebody almost I said on my list because I'm really looking forward to that
Yeah.
potential conversation. But
Especially as somebody who played in the ACC, started at Pitt, now
right,
in the Big Ten at IU. A lot of basketball right there. X, if you're watching this, I'm gonna hit your phone. You better be on here. Another guy I'd say Peyton Siva. I was thinking about this today. Peyton Siva from Louisville. was I was just texting him today, actually. Invited me to runs down in Louisville with some of the Louisville guys, so I'm looking forward to that. But we got to get him on the pod. That would be great. National championship, even though I took it away. Fuck that. National champion 2013. Those would be two of my big ones. Another guy from around here, Notre Dame, Rex Pfluger, I think would be a great conversation as far as somebody who is also one of the nicest people you'll ever meet, one of the realest people you'll ever meet. And you can just tell that by talking to him in just any type of conversation, really. So that would be my 3 as far as guests.
Strong list.
As far as basketball, finals just ended. What are your guys' finals opinions? Both teams, either team, stars, how it went down, all of it.
I knew it was going to be kind of worthless because I knew the Nuggets would win at the end of the day. Like, cool, Miami was a long shot to start with, all that. But you ain't stopping Jokic and Murray and just their whole bench of other guys. They just stepped up each and every game, no matter what. But yeah, now the draft's coming up. And, we've already seen some crazy things like Bradley Beal going to the Suns.
Mm-hmm.
So free agency is about to be wicked. That's my favorite time of the year in the NBA. So it's going to be really interesting in these next couple weeks to 2-3 months. See what starts popping.
Yeah, the offseason really is the reality TV series of the NBA. And it always is very interesting to watch the moves that happen in the offseason. And obviously, with the world of social media that we live in today, we see guys on Twitter being very open about how they navigate their careers and just a lot of stuff that makes the offseason so great. But yeah, as far as the finals, man, I'm kind of leaning with Dow's opinion. I think for me, I just had a feeling that the Nuggets were a stronger basketball team. They had been all year throughout the regular season. I mean, I think Jokic made his case just for this season alone to be the best player in the world. I mean, statistically, you can't take away what he does. And I mean, just talk about a guy who does it in the most simple way possible. It really is fun to watch, this 7-foot Serbian guy, who I think barely speaks any English as is, come out here and, play basketball the way he does. My brother, Christian Gray, actually had the opportunity to watch him play in Charlotte earlier this season, and he said preparation was the thing that really stood out for him as far as Jokic. He said it was the most impressive warm-up he had ever seen an NBA player go through. And I mean, described in detail that Jokic would finish a lot of his workouts, specifically this day, with full-court layups. And my brother Christian told me he'd never seen a player run this hard in his life in a warm-up. So,
which is crazy because Jokic is the one that always gets hate for being, like, fat coming into the season, like all that,
Yeah, man. And, I mean, it's just interesting because obviously the way he's built, like, you don't expect guys to move the way he does, but yeah, he's just a very special player, and he showed that in the finals. Obviously, like Dow said, role player stepped up. Jamal Murray's not a role player, excuse me, but obviously played like the star I think he was in the bubble.
They did have role players step up. I mean, Bruce Brown played good.
Yeah.
Michael Porter didn't shoot the ball good, but that was about the only role player. Christian Brown stepped up, big moments.
Michael Porter stepped up last game. He had
last game.
Yeah.
KCP played great all series.
Unfortunately, KCP didn't play that way with the Lakers, but that's how it goes sometimes. Shoot. But, yeah, I think, like Dowd mentioned, role players really stepped up. I mean, I know the game that stood out was Christian Brown, 15 points, missed one shot. I want to say it was game
3 or 4. It was in Miami because he was part of that run. Remember they went on that big run. He had that dunk, Heat timeout. That was kind of when you knew it was like they're not going to lose a game in Miami.
Yep, and Bruce Brown played out of his mind. Not even, in my opinion, just this series, but throughout the playoffs, he played a pivotal role for the Nuggets. And guys stepped up. And I actually think, as far as my opinion, Miami was my favorite team to watch in the playoffs this year, believe it or not. Obviously, an American underdog story. How can you not enjoy it? You know, an 8 seed, a play-in team making a run like that. And obviously, Miami Heat organization in general has this pedigree of, playing basketball a certain way. They've won a lot of basketball doing that. So I don't think it's a team you can never count out going into the playoffs, regardless of how they played in the regular season. I know they didn't shoot the ball efficient throughout the regular season, and people talked about that all year and their struggles, but it's a team I just think can always turn it on come playoff time. And turning on all the way up until the finals, and then unfortunately just kind of met their match there at the end. But yeah, it was great finals. I think great to see Jokic step up and be the superstar he is, and kind of just have this new face in the basketball. Dame's
All right, we back in business. Y'all hear me?
bro.
Yes, Daddy. I mean, Keaton.
Okay.
Play that shit.
Dow, would you shut the? Can you lock it in for like 15 more minutes, please? What were we talking about? I was in the middle of a sentence when it cut off.
I have no idea.
We were talking about Brandon Miller.
Let's just move to the next question.
Yeah,
How about
yeah.
that?
Yeah, but I said let's move on.
Yeah. Okay, ready? Let's do it. Okay, after a little audio misfunction there. North Carolina versus Indiana, high school basketball. First, let's talk about y'all growing up playing there. Well, not really growing up there, but playing high school basketball there. Then we'll get into Indiana a little bit after that.
Before we do this, I would actually like Dow to give some perspective on his time playing basketball in Georgia as well. I think you probably have the best knowledge of what AAU basketball in Georgia is really like. I played it a little bit, obviously, in middle school.
The South in general.
Yeah, the South in general, but specifically Georgia. What would you say the difference is between the style of basketball you see the further south you move, whether it be from Georgia to North Carolina?
Bro. So in Georgia, it is the most aggressive and fastest basketball you will ever play.
But you played 1 year in Georgia, right?
Bro, I played
2?
I played NU to fucking.
Yeah, but I'm talking about high school.
High school, I played. I mean, I count 8th grade
Yeah.
AAU, 9th grade, not 8th through 10th grade AAU in
Yeah.
Georgia. I played some of the craziest, most athletic dudes in my life that I thought were like freaks of nature at my age. Like 14-year-olds that were 6'10", 250, and could run 4.5 if they had to. Like, that basketball in Georgia was insane. Insanely aggressive, insanely fast, and we know hoopers that come out of there. I mean, you got Anthony Edwards, Jabari Smith, Dow Dunton, Jared Goffin, Lou Will. I mean, hoopers on hoopers come out of that state. Reese Cooper, like, tons. And then, I mean, North Carolina, it's just prestigious because Michael Jordan and UNC and Duke. That's the one reason I think people hype up it as the hoop state. Like, don't get me wrong, there's hoopers that come out of the cities and all that go on to do big things, but like, come on, North Carolina is big because of one guy in 2 schools. Be real.
And that's where me and Dow have a difference.
I knew you were going to say that.
Yeah, so I think for me, my perspective, I didn't play as much AAU basketball at the high school level when we lived in Georgia just because I was young. I played most of my AAU and high school basketball in North Carolina, specifically in Charlotte and Raleigh, as far as in the state. And luckily, basketball has been able to take me lots of other places. But I would say the biggest difference between the style of play between not only Georgia and North Carolina, but also Indiana is I always say Georgia was probably the most physical basketball I played. And then North Carolina, it's been the most skilled basketball I've played. And then Indiana, it's by far the most fundamental basketball played.
Oh.
I could agree with that.
It is by far the most fundamental basketball played. But for me, growing up, playing my high school ball in North Carolina, it was in my eyes the hoop state as far as the basketball culture, and not even just what's done on the floor, but the influence basketball has in our community and just how important it is to everybody in the community. And there's been a lot of talent to come out of North Carolina of all levels of basketball, Division I through Division III, NAIA, professional, NBA, and I've been lucky to have my eyes and even share the floor with a lot of that talent, but there's also a lot of talent I haven't been able to share the floor with. And I'd say overall, the big thing in North Carolina here is just it's the area code battles. I know specifically for me growing up, it was 252 versus 919 because I was a 919 kid, and all those kids in Greenville and, excuse my language, bumfuck North Carolina thought they could really fuck with us over here in Raleigh. But yeah, it was definitely some battles, man. I think people people in North Carolina just really love the sport of basketball, and it's something that, like Dow said, the college basketball culture here is obviously pretty big with Duke and North Carolina, and now you have NC State and Wake Forest who are actually coming along as
Hmm.
far as their level of play in the ACC. I mean, Wake Forest won, didn't they win the ACC 2021 2 years ago? So
Yeah, I'm not sure if they won it. They came close.
regular season
Yeah,
maybe, but
maybe.
anyway, I think adding Steve Forbes probably was a big part of that. Anyway, but yeah, my perspective on North Carolina basketball is, just it's very skilled. You're gonna learn the game. You're gonna obviously basketball and all is pretty physical sport, but yeah, and to me, North Carolina was big on just learning the skills of the game and being able to do everything: shoot, pass, dribble.
Yeah, so obviously Indiana is the real hoop state. Um,
Definitely not.
it's just as far as the love and the history of basketball throughout the state. It definitely is different. There's different levels, as there is in every state. As far as probably around the Indianapolis area would be more similar to what y'all played in high school, as far as like top, you know, tons of Division 1 guys, faster paced games, a lot. But even in the city, Indiana's a lot of lower scoring, defensive basketball games, which you don't really see anywhere else, especially now, anywhere else across the country. I know my conference was my team specifically played a really, really slow offensive, like, we're going to beat you by being efficient, but we're not going to beat you by shooting the ball more than you. And
Right.
that was just the type of game that was played at pretty much everywhere in our area. You start to see a little bit of difference now, a little bit, as far as people scoring the ball. Fort Wayne area has had a couple people who have done that a little bit. But the main person I'd say in my area who's changed that during his high school career is Marcus Burton, who's going to Notre Dame, played 4 years at Penn High School, and they didn't care how much they were up. I went and watched them play one game this year. They won 120 to like 40. Like, they didn't care. They were gonna
Gosh,
run it up. But other than
I
that,
love it.
there's nobody. Yeah, other than that, there's nobody that's playing that fast style of ball. You'll get beat up. Like, it's a physical game,
Yeah.
but the talent isn't. A lot of NAIA type of guys, a lot of good Division 3 players, but it's not. You're not playing against that top talent every day unless you're in a bigger area. I'd say probably.
Yeah, so I mean, I remember I was lucky enough to watch your former high school play, and I was always so curious on just what it really like was to be at an Indiana basketball game or
First of
Indiana high
all,
school basketball game.
Red got a bad experience. It was a Tuesday night game, non-conference game,
That game was
down
trash. Game
year
was
for
trash, bro.
Wawasee. That don't count. But yeah, let's hear your Indiana high school
To
basketball
me,
story.
to me, it sounds like excuses because I know my former high schools are just, they're staples out here in the Raleigh community, and there was never such thing as a down year. So, but
Yeah, facts. What is
anyways,
losing?
the Indiana high school basketball scene was definitely different from North Carolina, and not in a bad way though. I think it was a great experience. Honestly, obviously the style of basketball, like Keaton mentioned, is very different. It was very low scoring. Sometimes it was hard to watch as a guy who played run and gun type of basketball, but honestly, as far as the coaching and you know kind of the sets ran at the high school level in Indiana that I saw, I thought it was a very almost collegiate style of play. Like, it was a very disciplined
Very
basketball.
system based. Yeah.
Yeah, very system based. Like, you gotta play a certain way based off the way your coach wants you to play. And I think that's where the big difference lies is in the South. I've seen a lot of guys just have the freedom to use the talents they have, and not saying that guys in Indiana can't do that because they certainly do, but it's just done in a much different way,
Hmm.
and it's just it's very interesting to see.
And that's like along with the differences of like y'all are both 6'7". I'm
Yeah.
obviously not. I'm 6'3" for anybody who doesn't know that. I was playing a post like back to the basket all 4
Yeah.
years. So and y'all were playing guard. Like I mean, Dow
Yeah.
wasn't, but you were playing guard at 6. So like that's just the difference of like the style. And it wasn't like I couldn't play guard, but it was just like the way that we played. I was in the post, which was
Yeah.
honestly horrible. I don't want to like we'll get into that, but like
Keaton, Kobe Bryant, Dukes really was a
all
mid-range god.
shoulder shimmy turn, little fadeaway midi in the paint,
Maybe.
10 feet away from the basket.
Maybe we'll throw the highlights in the podcast. I don't know. Maybe not. But like you said, yeah. I mean, obviously, I was a bigger guy. I'm 6'7". But I play like a wing spot. I play the wing position. I always have. I've always played facing the basket. I never wanted to play with my back to the basket. And in North Carolina, I was just allowed to do that. Even if I was the tallest guy on the team, like I was going to play the way I wanted to. And I think if I had sufficed to growing up in Indiana, you know, it probably
You
would
would
have.
have been a D3 6'7" center.
Yeah, I'd have been a D3, 6'7"
Yep.
postman. It'd have been a special
Is that
situation.
a shot at me?
Nah,
No.
I said center. I ain't saying you a center. You a 4.
I
I said
was-
center.
You played the 4, bro. Get out of here.
Like the 4 and the 5.
You know, speaking of you know, playing Division III basketball, talk about what that level is like compared to the differences you saw at the Division I level. You know, specifically on and off the court.
I mean, D3 level is different. I mean,
Show your pride, man.
hey, shut the fuck up. Little pedo mustache. All right, well, what I'm gonna say is D3 is very like loyal and competitive and all that stuff. Like we give a damn type of thing. Like these guys have a pure love for the game because we're not on scholarship money. We're on academic money, basically. You know, but like I wouldn't say there's teams that never mind. There are teams that can beat D1 teams because like there are some real ass hoopers in the D3 level. Like I've had a few on my team specifically that I was like, these guys are all Americans. Like TC Thacker, basically the guy I played under was a walking double. He has the most doubles in school history with like 130 something. And the guy
is
Stan
crazy.
Suggs, who can go for 50 points if he wants to. He was first team his freshman year, second team the next 2 years, and then he was always on an all ODAC team. And I mean, Duncan Robinson was a D3 player.
Yeah.
You see what the fuck he does.
Mhm.
I'm about to disagree with your stance though on if Division III and Division I played a basketball game.
Yeah, I don't think there's
Bro,
any.
Bro, Lynchburg beat a D1 basketball team
Yeah, in 1950 when they played.
in 2016.
Who?
They beat Norfolk. No, it was Norfolk State. Yeah, I think Norfolk
It's
State.
not even a real school. Just made that up.
HBCU.
I know, bro. I got people who go there actually.
Bro, freaking Louisville lost to a D2, Lenore
Yeah.
Ryan.
That's crazy. The Louisville was trash. They were a D3 team.
They could. They might not even have won the ODAC.
Shit, bro. But like I'm saying, D3 basketball is competitive as shit. But like, of course, we don't have 6-7 guys playing point guys. It's 6-7 guys playing the 5, which I mean, sweet. But,
Yeah, I remember one game of your college basketball career where I think I saw there was only one guy I think I've ever seen you play that played like a bigger wing at the Division III level,
yeah, bro.
and I think he actually was a Division I transfer, but
Mhm. Yeah, other than that, you
Yeah.
don't see it. Like
Yeah,
you
you
don't
don't
see
really see
anybody
it.
over 6'5" playing wing.
nah, not at the Division III level.
But that's the thing. Like even Division I, like you said, people really care. Like that was. As far as Purdue Fort Wayne last year, that was at least I felt like that was our main. I know we've talked about this a lot.
Our main issue.
Yeah, behind closed doors, but we've never had a real conversation about it. But like that was our main issue of which is not a shot at anybody who, came back or was on their 5th year last year. It was just like we had people coming in who had proven themselves at the D1 level. And whether it was entitlement or they felt they already made it or, whatever it was, we just didn't live up to our expectations as a team and what we thought, or where we really, not what we thought, where we should have been, at the end of the season.
Yeah, I think with the experience we had, the new talent we had brought in, I really thought, we were in a good place to really have a special season. And I think, like you said, it's just at the Division 1 level, it can be hard to remain focused, I think, and that shows throughout all levels of Division 1 basketball, whether it's mid major, high major. I think even D3, you see it like easy to lose focus, but one of the things that I think is really cool is you actually spend a lot more time with guys at the Division 1 level than you do as far as obviously the Division 3 level. I think you still get very close with your teammates at the Division 3 level. You play basketball with guys long enough. That's just how it works. But I mean, I know at the Division 1 level, Keaton, you've been on campus at Purdue Fort Wayne since June now, and y'all are doing summer workouts, and y'all do all those workouts throughout August, and during that time, y'all spend a lot of time together with your teammates and really get to know each other.
Like, you almost don't have a choice. Like, you're going to like them just because of how much time you spend with them.
Yeah.
What's up, Dal?
Please read Davy's text.
But, like, you don't have a choice as far as what he said.
No, please read Davy's text. Whatever we do.
Mulder never texted in this chat, and he responded to this, so this is crazy.
Dal, no way you interrupted the podcast for that.
I did. Breaking news. Davy Singer is...
All right, let's lock in now. Let's lock in.
Yep, we're gonna restart it right here.
I'm hungry, bruh.
Oh my God.
We got 5 minutes left. What were we saying?
All right.
Okay, here we go.
We were talking about...
Yeah, you almost don't have a choice. Like, I've been around. I know us. We've had 2 weeks of camp. We did team camp, bringing in high school teams, play games, which wasn't bad. Then we had kids camp last week. So last week I was there from 7 a.m. to 7:30 p.m. And you're around the guys all day. You go back, you live with the guy. That's your family, whether you like it or not. You're going to like it eventually, whether if you don't to start. But, that's, I don't know what it's like at D3 or what Dow experience was, but.
D3 is the life, I'm telling you, boys. The life. You get your summers for free. You can do whatever you want during the summer. Then you go back to school, and school's easy as hell. D3 basketball and D3 school. Easy stuff. But you are with the guys every day.
Mm-hmm.
With D1, bro, we'll be in the gym from, 12 to 6, 12 to 7 every day. Film, lift, practice, all that stuff. But you're not working out every day. You're working out 3 times a week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the main difference.
That's one of the things I'm finally getting to experience is my first 2 years of college playing Division 1 level is I got to report back to campus early June and go through summer workouts which so it's a lot of strength training, a lot of time on the court, and like Keaton said, a lot of time with the guys, and you get the opportunity to build relationships and make lots of memories that, for the better or the worse, or maybe some things we'll speak about on this podcast at some point eventually, but there are some great memories you make, and you meet a lot of great people along the way. And so this is my first summer now I've transferred down to the Division 2 level, is that I don't have to report back to campus early, and it's definitely different. Like, I'm working a job for the first time. It feels like high school again, honestly, without AAU, honestly. So, but now with all the pickup we play nowadays, it might as well be the same thing, right? So, yeah, man, it's honestly like the old high school vibe, and it's just much different, man. It really is.
Yeah. Well, I think that's gonna do it. Good for this episode. We'll be putting out more. Look for it in the coming weeks. I'm not sure when this one's going to drop exactly. We're recording this on Monday. So hopefully sometime this week we'll get this one out there.
Yep.
Anything else y'all boys got to say?
Yeah, I look forward to all the new listeners. I think it's going to be, it's going to be a great opportunity for people to get a deeper dive into what the college basketball world is like, and then just other sports opinions, and even just life. Sometimes we're gonna just talk about what's going on and just all the different things that are going on. So I look forward to continuing this. New episodes every week. Feel free to take a listen if you're ever bored. It's a great listen with great people. I'm looking forward to doing more episodes.
Yeah, appreciate y'all for listening.